We often find ourselves caught in a cycle that feels both urgent and strangely hollow. We wake up, we trade our most precious resource, which is time, for a currency that seems to vanish the moment it touches our hands. It is a modern paradox where we are more productive than any generation in history, yet many of us feel like we are walking on a treadmill that never stops. We work to pay for the lives we are too busy to actually live. This tension between labor and freedom is not a new phenomenon. It is a fundamental human struggle that has been documented for millennia. In the classic work, The Richest Man in Babylon by George S. Clason, we find a timeless blueprint for this struggle. The truths it contains belong to the collective wisdom of humanity. The journey toward financial autonomy begins with a shift in perception. Most people view money as a tool for consumption, a means to acquire things that signal status or provide temporary comfort. However, the truly wealthy view it as a seed. Imagine for a moment that every coin you earn is a servant. If you spend that coin on a fleeting pleasure, you have killed the servant and all of its potential descendants. But if you keep that coin, it begins to work for you. It produces more servants, who in turn produce more. This is the foundational shift from being a laborer to becoming a builder of an empire, regardless of how small your starting point might be. The first step is often the hardest because it requires a confrontation with our own habits. We are told that we must pay our landlord, our grocer, and our government. We diligently settle our debts with everyone else. Yet we consistently fail to pay the person who did all the work. That person is you. If you do not set aside a portion of your earnings before you begin your monthly ritual of spending, you are essentially working for everyone else except yourself. You are a slave to the cycle of commerce. By keeping a strict 10% of everything you earn, you are asserting your own value. You are declaring that your future self is just as important as your current desires. As this reserve grows, it changes your psychology. There is a profound sense of peace that comes from knowing you have a shield against the unpredictable nature of life. This is not about being a miser or living a life of deprivation. It is about recognizing that your desires will always expand to meet your income if you let them. This is a trap that many successful professionals fall into. They earn more, yet they feel no wealthier because they have simply upgraded their chains. They buy a bigger house, in a faster car, and suddenly they are more dependent on their job than they were when they started. Before we move into the mechanics of growth, I want to take a moment to speak to those of you who are joining us on this path. If you find value in these reflections on philosophy and business, please consider subscribing to the channel. It truly helps us grow and continue producing these deep dives. We post new videos like this every Thursday, exploring the ideas that shape our world and our wealth. Your support allows us to keep this conversation going. Once you have mastered the art of retention, the next phase is the art of multiplication. Money that sits idle is like a soldier who refuses to fight. It must be put to work. This is where the concept of investment enters the narrative. However, many people confuse investment with gambling. They seek the big win or the quick tip that will turn their small savings into a fortune overnight. This is the path to ruin. True wealth is built on the back of sound judgment and the wisdom of those who have already succeeded. The world is full of people who are eager to give you advice on how to spend or invest your money. The challenge is discerning who is qualified to speak. If you wanted to know about jewels, you would not ask a bricklayer. If you wanted to know about navigation, you would not ask a baker. Yet in our modern world, we often take financial advice from people who are just as broke as we are. The philosophy of the ancients suggests that we should only entrust our treasures to those who are experts in their field. Safety of principle is the first rule. You must protect your initial seed at all costs, for if the seed is lost, there can be no harvest. Time is the greatest ally of the disciplined mind. The power of compounding is often described as the eighth wonder of the world, but it requires a level of patience that is rare in our culture of instant gratification. We want the results now. but the forest takes decades to grow. This leads us to the realization that our greatest asset is not the money itself, but our capacity to learn and our willingness to be consistent. Every mistake is a lesson, provided the mistake does not wipe you out entirely. There is also a psychological component to wealth that involves our environment. There is a deep, primal need for security and a place to call our own. By investing in a home and a stable foundation, we lower our cost of living over the long term and provide a sanctuary for our ambitions. This is not just a financial decision, it is an emotional one. It provides the stability required to take the calculated risks necessary for true expansion. It turns a recurring expense into a building block of equity. As we look toward the future, we must also consider the reality of our own mortality. We must prepare for the days when we can no longer labor. This is the ultimate goal of the entire philosophy, to create a stream of income that flows regardless of whether we are awake or asleep, working or resting. This is the definition of freedom. It is the ability to choose how you spend your days, because your needs are met by the fruit of your previous discipline. When we synthesize these ideas, we see that wealth is not an end in itself. It is a byproduct of a life lived with intention. It is the result of character, patience, and the refusal to be a victim of circumstance. We are the architects of our own fortunes. The laws of wealth are as consistent as the laws of gravity. They do not care about your background, your education, or your current debt. They only respond to your actions. To change your life, you must first change your relationship with the work of your hands. Start small. Keep that 10%. Guard it fiercely, invest it wisely, and most importantly, never stop learning. The more wisdom you acquire, the more you can earn, and the more you can protect. This is the path that has been walked by the successful for thousands of years. It is a path available to you right now, starting with the very next dollar that passes through your fingers. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the timeless principles of prosperity. If this perspective resonated with you, please hit the like button and subscribe to our community. It is the best way to support our growth and ensure we can keep bringing you these deep dives every single week. Until next time, remember that a part of all you earn is yours to keep. Build your empire one step at a time.